DirtFish rally friends. What a week we have seen in the WRC. David, more news this week than we've had just about all year.
It's gone just about bananas, hasn't it, Colin? For a while now, we've talked about the fact that not been many driver moves, nobody's wearing new overalls, and look at what's happened this week. It's incredible. Perhaps do us a quick recap, Col.
I will give you a quick recap. The big news this week was M Sport's announcement. Craig Breen and Paul Nagel securing a 2-year deal to be the lead drivers in that magnificent Rally 1 car. And you have to say, never had a full season in the WRC, David. It's their first opportunity. Certainly Craig Breen's first opportunity at a full season.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? I can't remember. Was it 18 when he was at Citroën? Everything was looking quite good, and then Sebastian Loeb came back, and you can understand from Citroën's perspective that you would ask somebody like Craig Breen at that time in his career perhaps to stand down for a 9-time world champion. But it was really tough for Craig, wasn't it? You know, he was progressing nicely through his career, and just at a point that he needed. I think it's almost, he didn't need those individual events, but psychologically he needed to know that he'd done a full season, and he didn't have that until now. It is very exciting. One thing that is going to catch you out continually now. We've heard Colin really struggle with the names of rallies.
Yeah.
Now you've got to deal with the names of cars. It is...
Rally 1 car?
No! Richard Milner, please correct me if I'm wrong here. It is the Ford Puma Hybrid Rally 1.
I'm just going to call it the M Sport Ford Rally 1 car.
That's one of the things he's going to call it.
it.
You will call it lots of different derivatives of
Probably.
that.
But listen, let's talk a little bit about Craig Breen. You know, he's been around for a little while now. He was effectively junior champion way back in 2011. He's been in the IRC, he's been in, as it was, the
SWRC
ERC,
in 12.
SWRC.
Yep.
You know, he's been a bit of an itinerant. He's moved around a fair bit. He's done what he's had to do.
2-time world champion.
2-time world champion. But what I love about Breen is that he's continued to improve. Now, this year he's only had, 4 rounds? 4 rounds, I think it is, for Hyundai?
No, 5.
5 rounds.
Arctic, Croatia, and then 3.
And then the 3 in a row, yeah. Arctic was okay, Croatia was a bit disappointing, the last 3 have been magnificent. I'm just amazed, to be totally honest with you, David, that Hyundai let him go. I think a team with Neuville, Tanak and Breen for Hyundai is a world-beating team. What happened there?
For me, the big decision came in Estonia last year, where Breen finished second, drove magnificently on an event where you always look to these really quick events to see where the talent is, and you know, genuinely, what's that saying, Cole? That you can teach a driver to be consistent, but you can't teach a driver to be quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Breen,
you can build consistency. It's very difficult to build speed.
But at that time, Hyundai was really at its pomp, wasn't it? They were doing a lot of events, they were doing a lot of development with the car, and I feel that at that point, Andrea Adamo, the team principal, felt that he got everything completely under control, and you know, Craig Breen wasn't going to go in anywhere. He wasn't going anywhere, and then suddenly it's turned, hasn't it? And he should, at that point, towards the end of that season,
should have secured him.
He should have secured him.
What's happened this year is that, you know, M Sport was slightly thrown a curveball by the fact that Tanak, Neuville, that Elvin Evans all signed their long-term futures to other teams, and at that point there was a bit of an issue for M Sport, and you could almost call it a crisis. So there were 5 or 6 drivers in the picture. Really what Malcolm Wilson was looking for was for one of those drivers, or 2 of those drivers, to step up to the plate.
He was, and in that respect, Andrea Adamo absolutely controlled the driver market early this year, didn't he, by securing Thierry Neut. You know, we'd all heard the rumours that maybe it was coming, but it totally took me by surprise that they did their deal so early. And at that point, as I say, he had everything. And then Elvin went as well, and suddenly M Sport's options were diminishing quite quickly. But it was, in all honesty, it was either going to be Andreas Mikkelsen, Hayden Paddon, Esa-Pekka Lappi, or Craig Breen.
Or maybe Mads Osberg, I don't know, maybe.
Those I couldn't personally see Mads going back to M Sport. But those are the real options. And Craig went and did the deal.
I think it's a great opportunity for Breen. I honestly think Hyundai, I think it's a gamble. Listen, you have to take gambles in motorsport. Some people will say Breen is a gamble to M Sport. I think Hyundai have taken the biggest gamble in the driver market. You know, they have to win next year. They are not going to win the driver's title this year. They are not going to win the manufacturers. They have to win something next year, David. The manufacturers is the most important, and they've got a rookie in that third car. Now, I said this at my kitchen table. I am not disparaging at all Oliver Solberg. I think he's got massive potential, he's got massive talent, he is mature beyond his years. I just think it's too early. I think the pressure is too much at this point. I don't know. You disagree?
No, I don't disagree, Colin. I think it brings enormous pressure. And there's two schools of thoughts here. You could look at it as the Takamoto Katsuta model, where he was given a 4th seat and he's given time to progress. Or you look at the Kalle Rovanperä model, where he's chucked in the 3rd car, score some points. You know,
to be fair, I said the same thing when Rovanperä was the 3rd point scoring driver at Toyota, and he did really well that first year. He delivered what he had to do.
And this is what you've got to say. Okay, it is a gamble.
Yeah,
they've gambled. They've got a rookie in there, but also they have still got this ability to strategically place the cars and to which driver enters which rally at a certain time. They can run nicely on the road on the gravel rallies. They can potentially score points that way. That, as we've said 100 times now, will be balanced by Toyota's ability to do the same with Sebastian Ogier.
But also balanced, David, by the fact that Adamo said to us, maybe that tactic might not work next year.
Yeah, because you want consistency.
You want
seat
consistency,
time.
yeah.
But we have, there has been no consistency of Oliver Solberg being in a World Rally car. He's done a handful of events this year. He brilliantly in Arctic. Very disappointing, the compression on Safari.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's going to be in Spain.
I think with Oliver Solberg, what we have to look at is that Rovaniemi performance, because it is really rare to see a young driver getting in that car and being as fast as that. He was basically battling with Ogier all weekend, and he was beating Ogier, and that gives hope for all the Hyundai fans out there. Solberg has what it takes. He's got all the tools. He just needs to get the nuts and bolts in the right place, the tools in the right place, use the right tools, bang!
He needs time in the car. He needs seat time. He needs to be doing a lot of testing, build his confidence, and then we'll be fine. It's very easy for people to stand on the sidelines.
Like me.
And say, let's just see. Let's judge him after 6 months.
That's our job, David. That's our job. Our job is to question analyse. So listen, folks, we're getting towards the end of this because the tide is coming in. More news this week. It wasn't just Hyundai. It wasn't just clearly the big news at M Sports. Toyota, obviously, with Esa-Pekka Lappi. Quick word about that, David. Great news. One of my favourite drivers.
This one was telegraphed.
But fantastic
news.
We
saw this coming. Yeah, absolutely great driver. And we'll be sharing a car with Sebastian Ogier next year.
Yeah, who has said that he's with a different co-driver. That news has come out. That's other news this week. Julian Ingrassia doesn't want to do a part-time season next year. Yeah,
no, understandably, you want to make the commitment to something, to a full-time role. Julian he's a very much a character that's into it, or he's not somebody to stand on the sidelines, is he?
Absolutely. So, folks, that was the week that was in the WRC. It was a week full of news, full of excitement. It got me very excited.
Doesn't take a lot, Colin.
Doesn't take a lot. Folks, thank you very much for joining us from the shores of the glorious Sound of Mull. From David, from myself, thank you very much. We'll see you again soon.